Alright guys, it's about 12 or 1 p.m, something like that right now. And I've only just got out of bed half an hour ago. It's quite usual for me. It is on a Sunday especially, but what I'm saying is that I get up when I want. I don't have to be anywhere, even if it's a Monday or a Tuesday. And I think that's an important part of my lifestyle that makes me happy, is I do what I want when I want, you know. So I don't give a shit what people think. I don't give a shit people say it's healthy to get up at 5 a.m. or not. I can be working in here in my workshop until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I prefer to work in the evenings. Evenings are my favourite part of the day. Don't get me wrong, if I get up early, you do feel accomplished. You feel like you've achieved something by getting up early, especially if you go to the gym early. I'm not saying which is right or wrong, but for my preference, I just do what I want when I want. Nobody tells me what to do or where to go. But at the same time, I don't need to be arrogant about it. If somebody does tell me where to go and what to do, I'll probably do it anyway, but I'll usually make it for the afternoon, the appointment, so that I don't have to go out of my way, you know? So what I want to talk about today is basically the next 3 to 5 years in Western society. I know it's going to be a bit of a negative topic, but I'm not here to be one of those influencers that tells you everything you want to hear for the follows and stuff. I really do not give a shit. So I'll say what I think, and if you take something from it, that's great. But what the media won't tell you what's going on in the world right now is I'm like a big Elon Musk fan, and I follow AI technology. We're sat here now in my battery laboratory. I am at the forefront of technology, and I keep up to date with it all. I study rocket science, I study AI, I use AI all the time. I'm not the type of person to fear something and say, "Oh, I'm not using that." Because if you're not into it and everyone else is, it's like walking with one leg. You're gonna fall behind and get forgotten. You need to keep up to date with these systems to be at the front of the cutting edge technology in order to compete in the race with the world. And that's where I am with this battery laboratory. I've been into this for many years before even anyone even considered recycling batteries. I've been into recycling my whole life. The point I want to get to today is about AI. The news won't tell people the solid, cold truth about it, because even when I tell people about it, people turn away, or they leave the table, or they say, "I've got to go home," or "I'm busy," because people do not want to face the fact that humans will not run the planet anymore very soon. We've already started the AI transition last year. I think there's like 1 billion users on ChatGPT now or something, and I'm subscribed to ChatGPT Plus. I used to Google stuff like once a day just to build up my knowledge about something, to educate myself, as most of us do, I think. Now, I ask ChatGPT probably 50 to 100 questions a day. So this is as similar to Googling something 50 to 100 times a day. I've never learnt as fast as what I'm learning now. And I'm doing it because I do not want to fall behind in this race. I do not want to be forgotten, left behind, have no business, not know what's going on. Everyone around me walk around with super intelligence for a human capacity. I want to be at the forefront. I want to know what's going on. Even just random things. How do clouds form? How long does a carrot take to grow? Just ask it. I just ask it all the time. Every question I have in my head, I just ask it. Try and gain as much information as I can. And that's partly why I travel so much, because I'm a big fan of education. When I stay in hostels, you're meeting new people all the time with new education from new countries, learning new languages. You're staying in a different building every night. This is all education. If you stay in the same friend circle, you're just hearing the same stories from the same people in the same language and sitting in the same building. So I'm a huge fan of education. I think it's the most important thing in the world. People can say health is the most important. That's true. But there alongside it is education, because without education we wouldn't have any health. We would just destroy it immediately. And partly, obviously, that's why Africans die young. But with AI, you have to make a prediction. I've learned in business you have to make a predictions on what is going to happen, how the market's going to shift, how the world's going to change. Because if you're not good at making predictions, you won't have any timing. And if you don't have any timing, your business will go bust, or you will be at the back of the race or at the back of the queue. There is no point running to the cash machine when the banks are closing down and standing in a queue half a mile long to only get halfway down the queue before they close the doors and the cash machine's out of money. You want to be thinking months or years ahead and preparing everything when nobody else is, because then it's cheaper and easier and faster and not so inconvenient. And that is what this talk is about today. Over the last couple of years, I've seen decline in Western society, from people's attitudes and mental health, just the entitlement in Western society is absolutely disgusting. And I don't want to be a part of it really anymore. And when you've just driven Africa 34 countries like I have, and you see that they are totally the opposite, because their minds have not been polluted by social media, because they can't afford smartphones and they don't have that access to technology and internet like we do. It just makes you want to live down there among those amazing smiles and all that laughter you have with the locals all day long, just like they have with each other. So the last couple of years, my business has always been small, and I've kept it small intentionally in order to keep my freedom. But over the last few years, especially since Corona, I've been shrinking my business down in size and putting things into storage, long-term storage, where you don't need to pay any rent. Because if the day comes that you have to leave because it gets that bad, you do not want to lose all of your stuff because it was in storage somewhere and you didn't pay the rent. So I've moved everything to a friend's house, where my friend has lived here for like 60 years. So we're talking about storage which is dusty space, which is even she hasn't seen for 25 years. My stuff is in storage where, and I don't have a lot of stuff, I'm a minimalist, but the stuff I do have has gone into dark, dusty storage, which is never used and has no value. Because I've been planning for this decline, what I've seen, little businesses closing and people leaving the UK, and just people psychologically becoming unhappy. So I thought I will shrink my business even smaller because I can afford to. It still ran at a level where it would fund my travels and so on. But I think we're coming to the crunch time very soon now. There are virtually no more small businesses. Jeff Bezos is the king of destruction when it comes to destroying small businesses by setting new standards in the market, making sellers accept returns in any condition, allowing buyers to steal, giving buyers all the rights to treat sellers exactly how they want, even though sellers are the ones that are actually paying the fees. He sets new standards in the market, is one of the biggest sales platforms in the world, and other sales platforms like eBay and so on have followed in order to compete. That guy is a bad person. He's a bad guy. Try and avoid buying from Amazon. Over the last few years, I have bought some stuff from Amazon when I need the speedy delivery for my little bits and pieces for my workshop. But that guy is a bad guy. He's destroyed small business culture. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all of that. So what I'm saying is with AI is that this next 3 to 5 years, this transition period is going to be like hell on earth by my prediction. It's going to be like another corona lockdown, but instead of it going on for like 2 or 3 months or weeks, yeah, I think it's going to go on for years basically. People are going to be losing their jobs in hundreds of thousands and millions. And people without their jobs, I can't even get somebody away from their desk to come and travel with me, even if I tried. I'm pretty sure I could approach somebody who hates their job and say, here's 10 grand, come with me to Asia tomorrow and we'll live the dream for 3 months. They would still say no. The thing that they hate most in their life, they will not leave under any circumstances, because of their fear that where's the income going to come from? Where's their next job going to come from? And that's how people end up going their whole lives and have never seen the world, due to fear. So, but what's going to happen now is AI is going to force people from their desks. It's going to chew up all of their jobs, starting with the digital jobs. Even jobs like lawyers, web designers, accountants, are just going to be gone. And people are going to be feeling no sense of purpose as the computer takes over. People are going to be stood in their windows watching traffic in the street all day long like elderly people do because they're bored. And when that happens, there's going to be huge levels of depression when people have no more sense of purpose. It's going to be like a fight for survival. It's going to be all about sport, doing sport all the time, replace work with sport. And also, people will get universal credit. It's going to be an unpredictable time because if people are not working for the money that they're getting, handouts make awful people. So I'm not even sure what is going to happen on that scale. But what I can say is that in Western society, we live in very digitalized worlds, very developed environments with high levels of technology around us all the time, and we have plenty of money. So AI is going to just chew through our systems like there is no tomorrow. But only in the transition period. Once AI is through and we come out the other side, it's going to be it's going to be an incredible world to live in. The technology we have, and all of these people that hate their jobs are not going to have to do them anymore. It's hard to even imagine how it will be, but it's going to cause so much relief for the 70% of the world that hate their jobs. We're going to have robots doing people's jobs, working in factories that they hate, and people are just going to get money anyway. So I'm not quite sure how life balance is going to go on that level, because handouts make the most awful people in the world. And if people are just getting handed out cash by the government like they were during Corona lockdown, if you weren't going to work, that's just made people hugely depressed. It's healthy to work. So I think that it's an unpredictable future, but you have to predict what you can to the best of your ability, because if you don't, and you don't get it right, you're going to be stood in a queue at a cash machine going half a mile long. I remember during Corona lockdown, I went to the cash machine, and usually I can draw out €1,000. They even limited that down to 250 or 300 euros a day. And I'm predicting that's what will happen again, because people will go into panic and the government won't want the banks to go down. It's going to take around 3 years, in my prediction, for that transition period to go through. And we are probably only 20% of the way in now, and people are already losing their minds. I just traveled around Germany last week, and there are so many people talking to themselves on trains and buses, just roaming the streets like I've never seen before. People don't even know where they are. They're talking to invisible people. This is going to get so much worse over the next couple of years. In a year from now, it'll probably be at 50%. It'll probably be that one person in every family has lost their job because they were an architect or an accountant, and AI just took their job. Nobody wants it anymore because everyone's got ChatGPT, and you can just ask ChatGPT instead of calling your accountant and paying them €200 an hour. I just built my own website set 8 months ago using ChatGPT, and did it all manually as well with coding and everything. Usually a web engineer would charge like 5 to 7 grand for that sort of thing in Germany, and it's running fine. So I don't want to be sat around for this. I'm not the type of person to slog it out. Most people out there are going to be the type that have not travelled third world countries. They might have just been to Spain on holidays, and they own a house and a car and a big mortgage and all of the clutter and luxuries inside it. They're not going to be able to just say, oh, well, just ditch it all and go to somewhere where it's better. People are going to be tied down like an anchor, and then they're going to be stood in their living room windows because their only entertainment is watching the birds in the birdhouse, or watching who's parking where, depressed, causing trouble. People are going to get lawless. People are going to start looting and stealing from any shops that still exist. I'm off. I'm doing one. I'm planning to be in Africa for at least 6 months of next year. Because the thing is, in places like Africa, without the technology and without the money, there's nothing to lose. That's my less is more philosophy in the way that I think. The people to fear the most are the ones that have nothing to lose. That's why if you've got a heroin addict trying to rob you, you give them what they want. Otherwise, you're going to end up getting stabbed. They have nothing to lose. And if you go to Africa, where people have no money anyway, generally speaking, and they don't have smartphones to have their minds poisoned or at all by any social media or any of the bad things that are happening around the world, then people will remain happy and have laughter. These people have been through, also on another side of it, they've been through wars and suffering their whole lives, but that's what makes them the people that they are now. But what I'm saying is, they have no money and they have no technology. Therefore, my prediction is that will be the place to go during this transition period to avoid all the depression and disruptions and losses. So that's my plan for at least the next 3 years. I'm going to be down there 6 months next year, maybe even more. I might even be down there 9 months. I've set up my GoFundMes, my charities. I've got things going on, projects down there that I'm wanting to address, maybe some humanitarian aid. This is like the passions that I've always wanted to fulfill my entire life. I knew I wanted to spend the last half of my life involved with charities and stuff. And these things are already taking up quite a lot of my time. And they're very fulfilling. It's a dream to do what I've just started to do in the last couple of months. So I want to pursue those things and not pursue my battery recycling business, where people in society are so cooked here in Germany. They buy a battery from you on eBay and they take their old one out of their scooter, send you their old one back and say they returned it because it doesn't fit. And they're riding around with the new one that you spent hours to fix in their scooter. This is decline big time in society. That technique is called swapping out. And if you do it or have done it to anyone, you have no pride. Your life is over. You are wasting your life. It's worse for you than for the person you're doing it to, because everyone knows who you are and what you're doing, whether you think they do or not. You do it secretly, you think that's okay. I've just gained myself €100. Screw that small business, yeah? You are a waster. Your life is over and you are unhappy. Anyone that's happy does not do that to people. Now, these sort of techniques and these things that people are doing in Western society are the decline of Western society. And I'm very happy in my life. I have my dream life. I have it exactly how I want it. But when you're surrounded by people in society that behave like that, you realize in the end, after years of this punishment of theft, online theft, and people doing things to target me and be spiteful and do stuff to just try and get at you, to pull you down, whether they're friends, old friends, or customers, or whoever it may be. You can see people pulling you down, and they try and drag you down. Once you have that realization that you can see what they're trying to do, it doesn't affect you that much anymore, but it still is not the environment you want to be living in. So I've made a decision. I finalized it this week that this is it for me. The last 3 years I've been closing my business and getting rid of stock and shrinking everything down and putting stuff in long-term storage and just creating a situation where if I leave, I don't have any bills and nothing is going to get taken away. I won't owe any rent or anything. I've just gradually closed down because I've seen this coming. And I'm going to take off next year, go back to my car, do what I love, camp. I don't need to spend loads of money to be happy. Once you get down there with that little car, which is like a Ferrari, my little banger car is my Ferrari to most people. Everyone wants a Ferrari. That little car has been seen by more than 100 million people. It's a very famous little vehicle. And it comes from my passion modifying it and creating it and doing a ridiculous road trip. When I get back down there, I want to give. I don't want to be like people up here, just take, steal, steal, steal. And I'm talking generally speaking now. I'm not saying everyone in Western society is bad. But after seeing the Africans and how they behave, like welding my car together and doing whatever it takes to get me back on the road, and then you come back here and you've got people stealing from you online while you're trying to run an honest business that's doing good for the planet. No way. Because you've got this end of the scale and you've got this end of the scale. You've seen the best in people. You've seen nearly the worst in people. You've got such a huge scale, and you've traveled third world countries, so you don't fear them anymore. Your options are just open completely to just make that switch to a third world country, escape the technology, escape the money, feel satisfied every day and be happy in giving. Do the things that these people taught me in the third world countries. That giving makes you truly happy in life, and not staying up here and just take. Just think about me. Even though you're born with a British passport or a European passport in your back pocket, you're loaded, and all you can think about is you can't afford the tax for your Range Rover, or you can't, you're arguing with the neighbours over where you park it because it's so big, rather than thinking about real issues in the world, like where is the next bowl of rice coming from. You just get sick of it in the end. You really do. And I'm ready for off. My stuff is stored up, packed up. My business is ready to just leave here, and I'm going to go take off down Africa. I'm going to live my dreams, And people up here are just going to lose their shit. The elderly won't know what day it is. They're already bad with technology. The average families living in houses with 40 years left to pay on their mortgage and 3 cars on the driveway. They're going to be stood in their windows wondering what to do, all arguing and having family domestic fights like during Corona. With psychological problems, all our systems are overloaded, our hospitals are full. People have nowhere to go for counselling. Everyone you ask what job you do, I'm a counsellor, right? Well, like if a quarter of people are counsellors these days, it just feels that way anyway, because there's so many psychological problems going on in the world. And don't get me wrong, if you go to counselling, I respect that totally. It's the people that are not going to counselling and stuff that they're the ones that are, bad for the society. But yeah, I just don't want to be sat around and I value every day of my life so much. There is no way you're going to get me into a job that I hate for one day. I would rather go and get a gun and blow my head off. It's not going to happen. I value my life and my freedom too much. Therefore, over these next 3 years of this transition period, until possibly as long as till 2030, I want to be making the most of my life in countries where people are not spoiled, people appreciate when you do things for them, people are not stuck on their phones the whole day, people are not loaded through the eyeballs looking at the stock market saying I lost 100 grand overnight because of AI. I want to be around people that are untouched by it. And that means you have to go to somewhere like Africa to do that. Be around healthy, strong minds with people with good intentions and just have the basics. Just sit in the streets with them and laugh and joke and just don't need to spend any money. Just a couple of beers here and there and a bowl of rice, and all you need is the laughter of the locals. So, I don't know, it's like most people have never travelled third world countries like I have, and by me travelling them, the option is there, and I'm going through the door while that door is open. Because if a sudden crash comes due to AI, and let's say 10% of the country lose their jobs just within a week, just imagine how many people will be going online booking flights trying to get away. How many people will be stood at the cash machine trying to withdraw all their life savings and get everything they can together? How many people will be trying to sell their houses? How much money do you think you're going to get out of the cash machine when everyone else is doing it? The government will have restricted it to like $250 a day again or less. How much do you think you're going to get for your house when every house on the street is up for sale? You're going to get peanuts. People are going to be... How much do you think you're going to pay for flights when they're completely booked out? They're going to cost a fortune. Your life is this period. Your life is going to be over for 3 to 5 years during this transition period. If you don't make a move now and see it for yourself and not just rely on what BBC News is telling you. The news will give you a hint, but it's not going to tell you leave the country because it's going to be a miserable 3 to 5 years. They can't do that because then all the cars will be at the borders again like during Corona time. They don't want to create a panic. So I'm just saying that I've just, hopefully people can take something from this and say, actually, he's right. It's better to plan ahead. If you plan ahead, things are cheaper and easier. You're not doing it while everybody else is. I think that what I'm predicting here is nearly 90% likely, if not 100. It's going to take time for the government to get a grip of AI and implement those systems into the government systems and get rid of all of the staff. And then we can come back and it'll be a beautiful system We don't need to talk to government employees that don't want to answer the phone. They don't want to speak to you. They're delaying the appointments because they can't be bothered going to work. We're not going to have to deal with lazy people that can't be bothered to work, can't be bothered to study. We're going to just be dealing with computers that do things perfectly every time and don't give any trouble. So the future looks beautiful, but this transition period is like a business transition period. Anyone that's been in business knows that if a business is running okay, you leave it alone. Any big changes you make in that business are almost guaranteed to lead to loads of stress. Just like changing product, it leads to a load of returns or a load of customer dissatisfaction. Our governments of our countries are big businesses. Our countries are businesses. They rely on money to run, and they rely on people to run them to get the money in. So when you make a change where you get rid of all the staff from the government and stop everyone's jobs and put computers in place of the governments and the people in their jobs all around the country, you can only expect a monster crash. But after that, we'll have an abundance of everything. It will be an unbelievable world. AI will probably be able to cure cancer and things like that. I don't think it's something to be looked at as in such a bad way, but obviously, you always get the rough with the smooth. The Ukraine war is run mainly by robots now, the drones with bombs on. So in one way it'll be able to probably cure cancer, but in another way it can kill 5,000 or 6,000 people in a week, and that's just on a small scale. It has to be treated with respect. But what I'm saying is this transition period, this period now is a time where I do not want to be in a country of wealth or technology. So I'm going to be going back down to Africa early next year, as early as possible. And this is why I'm saying it's important in life to be light on your feet, and that freedom is wealth. Because if you're not light on your feet, or you don't start getting light on your feet now, immediately, then I think that you're going to be anchored down to hell. You're going to have no job. God even knows what's going to be going on in homes. Just imagine what it was like in the depths of Corona lockdown. I'm predicting it's going to be like that, but it's going to go on for years, because the governments will have no idea how to deal with the situation, just like they didn't have any idea how to deal with the Corona situation. Everyone's going to be scratching their heads for a long time. They'll get it through in the end. AI will help them get it through. It'll be unbelievable change in the world once it's through. But I'm just saying, I'm going to be out of here. I'm out of here, I am. Next few years. Might go on as long as until 2030. But I'm not sitting around for the party. This is not going to be cool. So, yeah, that was what was on my mind today. So I thought I'd get it off my chest. I'm not saying I'm right about everything. I'm not saying I'm a genius. And a lot of things I do generalize, and that's why I always say, generally speaking. If anyone can take something from it and maybe prepare themselves for what's about to come, then that's great. I would love to see that. If this video helped you, or you do actually get away and there is a crash, then get back in touch with me, send me a message or put a comment. I'd appreciate to know how it turned out for you, if this video helped anyone. Alright. Speak soon, guys.